This is the WHTC Morning News with Gary Stevens on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
Welcome back to the WHTC Morning News for this Friday, March 25th. Friday mornings at this time, we travel to Michigan, find out what's going on in travel and tourism, maybe some of the attractions that might interest you this weekend. Dave Lorenz of Pure Michigan joins us as he does Friday mornings via the Zoom connection. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Gary. Do you have a little bit of snow on the ground over there in Holland today?
Not yet, just to still the wet stuff, but winter is doing its last.
Yeah. Well, here in Norton Shores, just a couple steps north of Grand Haven, we have a little bit of snow on the ground. And I have to say, you know how much I love winter. But once we hit that March 2021 window, I'm done with winter. So I'm looking for Mother Nature to be done with winter too. So I do have some tips on things you can do this weekend, though, to kind of get out of the snow if there is any on the ground tomorrow.
Yeah,
have a good time.
There's one that's going on over in Grand Rapids this weekend over at the Voss Place.
Yeah, the what is it called? The Lakefront and
Cottage and Lakefront Living Show.
Yeah, there we go. Yep. And I think I've told you this before. I love those shows, especially at DeVos, because they do a great job. But those shows like the RV and camper shows and whatever. I'm not much of an angler, so I generally don't go to the fishing shows, but I love those shows because you see all the new tech and new designs. And with that cottage and lakefront living show, a lot of times it's not really new tech. It's just kind of going back to the comfort food of living. And I live in a little log home just off the lake, up just a little bit north of you. So, all of our stuff that we have here kind of rustic. So I like going and checking out what the latest is about, various furniture and things like that, because we do need to get a new chair.
So get a new Adirondack chair. I know some people that make those Adirondack type chairs with the lower peninsula on the back.
Yeah, I know. Well, the fun thing is, they always have to put in something with the upper peninsula. So you'll either find like an upper peninsula paired, maybe a little table, or maybe they have the UP on the arm railings, whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. By the way, hopefully people can be able to get up to the UP this weekend. I know they've had some issues with the ice over on at the Big Mac Bridge right now.
True. 'Tis the season. You get, that kind of strange mix of weather. They did have to close down the bridge actually twice, I think, this week. But the thing is, normally when they close down the bridge, I have been on the other side of the bridge when it's been shut down. So I know what that's like. It's usually not very long, maybe 4 hours. So you have a little time to check out the local attractions, either in St. Ignace or in Mackinac City. And the cool thing is things are starting to come, back to life at this time of the year. So at least you'll find stores open and restaurants open and all that. But
don't get me started about finding things in St. Ignace. I'm already hankering for a burger up in Clyde's. But
I have to tell you, St. Ignace has to be one of my favorite little towns in Michigan because it has such history. It is the second oldest incorporated city in Michigan, Sault Ste. Marie being the oldest, and Sault Ste. Marie being the second oldest incorporated continually operated city in America, with St. Ignace then number 3, and then St. Augustine. All those saints, they're 1, 2, and 3 there. Mm. So that's I just love the town. I love, as you know, Native American history. So you can go to the Ojibwa Museum there and learn about history of the area, but also of Native American culture. And what I love about that little museum they have there, too often I think Native American history is interpreted from the Euro-American perspective. And that's really a shame. Because remember, let's hope we can all get together today, but there were a time when Euro-Americans were conquering Native Americans and then expecting them to assimilate, in than the new America lifestyle, and that didn't go very well for a long time. So you see that story as told from the Native American perspective there, and I think that's very healthy for us to realize we're not perfect. I'll tell you, my wife and I go through this all the time. I think we do live in the greatest country in the world, from my perspective, but we are not perfect. We make a lot of mistakes. And to that point, you're going to be hearing from us later this year. I'm actually officially making this announcement at the conference, our travel conference, in a couple of weeks, but we're going to talk about how we're going to be asking people to intentionally go to places where people appear to be different. For instance, we'd love more people from Holland to go to Detroit and spend a day in Detroit and walk around and be part of the community and see what the lifestyle is there, at least in the downtown corridors where you can enjoy so many things. And we'd love my friends in Detroit, mostly African American there, to come to places like Holland, which are mostly white, because we need to mix it up in that way. We need to get to know each other. You see, there's just way too much. There's too much division in our country and in the world still. And simply by traveling and getting to know one another, we can make this a better place. So we're gonna try to get people to do that and then share their experiences. I hope they'll be mostly good. There are going to be some uncomfortable experiences here and there. There are going to be some people looking at some people. That's the reality, because we don't do this normally, but we need to do this more often. So we'll see how it goes.
One final thing. Have you ever wanted to pilot the ferry up in Ludington? They're looking for captains to pilot the ferry between Ludington and Manawac.
I could barely pilot our little 16, 18 footer that my roommate used to have, and we used to go skiing all the time in the Grand River. No, I've never wanted to do that, but I must say I did captain one of the Shepler's boats for a few moments one time. They let me put my hands on the wheel, and that was fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, I'm just mentioning it because they are looking for people to pilot the Badger as the new season begins.
I did hear the longtime captain is retiring, and that is such a cool ship. If you've not ridden on the Badger before, perhaps there's some need that I don't understand that you need to get over to Wisconsin. So I would really highly recommend it, if only for the ride, because Lake Express Ferry out of Muskegon, that's great. Brand new, modern tech and all that. But there's something really special about the Badger because it is so old, and you do feel like you're on one of those transatlantic ships that must have been just so cool to be riding on. And when you get about 10 miles out or whatever, all you can see is water for the longest time. So you really get that feeling. And I've never rented out one of the little staterooms that you can rent out in the Badger as well, because I want to be outside. But you could do that as well. It doesn't cost much at all. And take a little nap in there when you're taking that 4.5-hour ride over there. It's a cool experience. So I hope people do that. And hey, if you're behind the wheel, it's even more fun.
Yeah. The thing is, and I'll just finish with this, is the fact that the Badger, of course, was the extension of US 10. The connection. And before we had the interstates, US 10 was the route between Detroit and Seattle.
Yeah, that's right.
and I don't know. I'm an old route fan, and I'd like to drive the old routes and see how it was back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and maybe that drive to Seattle, maybe one day. But I'm gonna need it here, I think, more than anything else. Dave Lorenz, he is with Pure Michigan. If your trip, of course, as Tim Allen would say, your trip begins at Michigan.org. Like Pure Michigan on Facebook, Twitter, and find out all things going on in travel and tourism. Dave, as always, thank you very much. And if all goes well, we'll do this again next Friday morning.
Talk to you then.
Thank you very much, Dave Lorenz on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.